Welcome back to On the Road with Iona, a very special edition. I'm here in Portugal on the west coast, an hour north of Lisbon, at a venue called West Cliffs. Now, the name Dye is synonymous with world-class golf courses all over the world. Of course, I'm referring to Pete Dye, but today we're at a venue that was designed by his niece, Cynthia Dye, and when it came onto the scene in 2017, it quickly emerged as one of the best new golf courses in the world. It's consistently in the top 3 in Portugal, and I think today is going to be something very special. Starting with the par 4, down the hill, I can see the green, I'm going for it. Oh no, Iona, a little bit right there, but it's okay. Down the right-hand side, we're off and running. So I found a fairway on my opening tee shot, although it wasn't the best drive I've ever hit. I'm okay with that, and I've left myself 115 yards down to this flag. It's tucked in a tricky little position. It looks like there's room kind of long and left, so I'm not going to get too greedy on this one. Ball way above my feet, which means it's going to move from right to left in the air. Just like that. Go on. Perfect. So this, as I mentioned, is a Cynthia Dye designed golf course. Cynthia Dye, niece of Pete Dye, very famous golf course architect. And apparently the story goes she was the brains behind the very famous Island Green 17th, par 3 at Sawgrass. She designed this golf course, and when it opened, it quickly became very highly ranked, and it continues to be to this day. Right, these greens look really, really nice. They've had a little bit of aeration, so there's a few puncture holes in there, but they look in mint condition. Quite a lot of grain in these greens. You can see the different patches of light and dark, which I'm gonna have to think about as I make my way around. Hard to start the day. That is always a good feeling. So we started on the 10th tee, level par through 1, and the 11th hole here is another par 4, bunkers down the left-hand side. There's just this little portion of fairway in the middle that kind of sits and looks at you. Got to carry the gorse. Let's give this a rip. Perfection. Perfect, couldn't have asked for much more from that tee shot. 188 yards is what I've left myself. The 11th hole, I'm down the left-hand side of this fairway, so I've got a bit of a mound, this sandy mound, but the wind's blowing off the right, which is perfect, which means I can kind of send this out to the right, and in theory it should just fall back towards the flag, so let's give this a go. She's coming back. Okay, it's not necessarily on the green, but she's up there somewhere. It's the thing about playing buggy golf, you have to take a variety of clubs from your bag, because you so often in golf choose the shot and you choose the club you're going to hit based on the lie, and you can't obviously see the lie from the buggy. So I'm actually about to make some changes to the wedge part of my bag. Currently I've got a 52 and a 60, and then it goes to 60, 52, and then my pitching wedge, and there's a huge gap between the 52 and my pitching wedge. So I'm taking out the 52 and I'm putting in a 50 degree. That gives me my 100-yard shot with a 50. I'm slotting in a 54, and then my trusty 60 will remain. So there's going to be some changes soon. I'm really looking forward to that, because right now it doesn't feel quite right. So I've come up to the ball and I can see that the ball is actually sitting on grass that is growing away from the direction of the shot. So it's going against the grain, which makes for a little trickier shot in terms of trying to get that clean strike. I've opted for my 60 degree here because I'm landing this on a downslope, and I can see it's also down grain, so it's just going to race as soon as this gets on the green. So I just need to try and get this a couple of feet on the green, no more. This should release. Oh, it's not breaking, but not too shabby. Thought it might break a bit from left to right, but it's okay. Putt for a par. Right, quick putt down the slope from right to left. We're in. It feels like a good score. Hole number 11. quite a tough hole. This is a serious par 3. 208 yards, wind into the face off the left. Wow. It's visually quite an intimidating tee shot because there's a huge amount of gorse just leading the way up to the green, and the green looks very shallow from this angle because you can't really see a lot of it. So I've no idea where is a good place to miss this, but 208 yards with a bit of hurt in the air. It means the wind's into your face a little bit, so it's hurting you. The opposite to that is a bit of help in the air, which would mean it's playing a little bit down the breeze. Now, 208 yards, I reckon I'm gonna just knuckle a little 3-wood, just probably play more like 215 yards. So I think just a grip down 3-wood could be the badger. That's another technical term. Okay, I'm gonna keep this left of the flag because I absolutely have to. Oh baby. Right on it. Not gonna lie, Emily, that looks very good. Okay, so it wasn't as close as I thought, but I'm actually really happy with that shot with a 3-wood. You can see it's pretty narrow green and an awkward angle just pitched on here at the front. I think a big test of this golf today is going to be with the putter. Big greens, sloping greens that have got a lot of grain, and they're very, very quick. Got a bit of left to right. That's it. Oh, that's racing. They are so fast. Okay, up the hill, that's the good news for my par. Flip. Didn't start it enough. Oh, that really hurts. After such a solid tee shot, I'm gonna have to settle for a bogey. Disappointing, 1 over par. Okie dokie, we've made it to a par 5, which is music to my ears. I've decided I'm going to play a little bit of a composite course, so between the yellows and the whites, to make it around 6,400 yards, because I feel like that's a pretty good distance. So we're going to flip-flop between tees. This is a par 5, it's a kind of dog leg up the hill, and again, quite an intimidating tee shot once more because there's a huge kind of mound in front of me here, gorse. And it's always difficult when you just see this big hill ahead of you, you think, right, buckle in, because this is going to be a bit of a ride. Hold your head there, little ball. Down the right-hand side, which I hope's opened up the green a little bit. Find the fairway just with my tee shot. It's par 5, and now I've got 225 yards up the hill, into the wind. Everything I've got with the 3-wood. Oh, smoked. Go on. Gonna leave myself a little flick on. Perfect. Alrighty. We have 55 yards up the hill. There was a huge gust of wind with that approach shot. There is a lot of wind here. We're very exposed down on the coast. Beautiful views, but tricky test of golf. So 55 up the hill. Oh, so nearly excellent. Just caught myself a little bit short there. That's where my sharpness really shows. I've got work to do, 100 yards and in. So you can see I've left myself short of this green, caught the upslope. Now I've got a dinky little chip, which is holdable from a birdie. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. Oh, in the jaws. Tap in for my par. Tough par 5 that, because it's all the way uphill. On we go. The course is really busy today, so we've decided to take this opportunity to fill in some stats. I've got my score, and then I've circled the tees that I've played so I can kind of work out to make sure the yardage of the course is what I'm looking to achieve, which is around that 6,400 yard marker. So I'm going to go over to the right hand side where I've put at the top an F for fairways, G for greens, P for putts, and S for scrambles. So on the opening hole, I hit the fairway, I hit the green, and I had 2 putts. On the second hole, I hit the fairway, I missed the green, and I had 1 putt, and that's 1 scramble from 1 attempt. The next hole, there was no fairway, I hit the green, and I had 3 putts. And then the par 5, I hit the fairway, I hit the green in regulation. No, I did not hit the green in regulation, and I had 1 putt. So I had 1 scramble from one attempt. That's how we do it. So we've got a par 4 next, 327 yards. Okay, I'm out with the big dog. I love these elevated tee shots. That par 5 took us all the way up the hill, and now we're going all the way back down. Every single hole, you get a view of the Atlantic here at West Cliffs, which I think is a real highlight of this golf course. With my driver down the left-hand side. Piped right down the middle. We are looking at 92 yards left to this kind of infinity green that just goes right out to the backdrop of the Atlantic. It's stunning. Quite tricky to see where this flag is actually sitting, but I'm going to leave it just a little bit short of it because they're very firm. I'm going right at it. Whew. Very firm. Let's go and take a look. Absolutely gorgeous. You can tell Cynthia Dye, who designed this golf course, niece of very famous Pete Dye, tried to keep this as natural as possible, and you can really get a sense of that as you walk around. So much of it feels untouched and kind of rugged in the way it's laid out. I love it. Right, birdie putt up the hill. Bit of left to right, quite slow going into the green, back into the breeze. Break. Just did not break. I'm not reading these greens very well so far. In she goes. Another little par, quite consistent so far. As I said earlier on, I really do think a big part of the challenge here at West Cliffs are these huge undulating greens. Big hillock in the middle of this one that's just taken my ball away from the flag. Tough pin position, but a spectacular view. Off we go to the 15th tee, and shouting out to the toilets at the 15th tee. It's always great to see toilets dotted around a golf course for the gals. Good facilities, that's what we like. Hole number 15 up the hill, dog leg from left to right, and another carry that's definitely a feature of this course where you've got to get it up and over the gorse to start with, and a bit of wasteland bunker. And it looks like the fairway's fairly generous, so I can really give this one a rip up the left-hand side, straight into the breeze. Hopefully, I'll leave myself a good look at the green from up there. So it's about 180 yard carry over all of this kind of gorse wasteland area, which is absolutely fine. At the moment, I'm carrying my driver about 235 yards. So if it runs and it releases, I can get it out to that sort of 260. But if it doesn't, it just stops. It's about that 235, 240. So averaging out about 250 yards, which I'm pretty happy with right now. I'm really focusing on rhythm. I'm not trying to force anything in my game. That's the way I like to play golf at the moment, and I think it's really working for me. I wish I had known that years ago when I used to be obsessed with power and obsessed with being a big hitter. And now I'm not obsessing with that anymore. I think having finesse and touch and flair and feel, especially around the greens, is something to aspire to, something I really want. Very inviting tee shot here. I'm going to take it up the left-hand side. There's a bit of a backstop, so I can really hit this with confidence. That's everything I've got. Go ball. All right. Absolutely crunched that drive down the left-hand side, but now I'm looking at a shot where the ball is way below my feet, which means it's going to probably pierce from left to right. 238 yards. It's everything I've got with my 3-wood. Whenever the ball's below my feet like this, I try to think of having my weight kind of in the heels of my feet a little bit, just to compensate. Just a little bit short, but it's a good shot. It is gorgeous, and right in amongst these lovely kind of pine trees with their big pine cones. There's a gorgeous smell. It smells like winter, Christmassy. Okay, left myself a little wedgeroo. Pin in a tricky position at the back of this green. Got my 52, so I'm going to play a little low one. Go on. Ooh, chances. Chances. no gimme, but it is a putt for a birdie, and boy do I need it. I need something. Start going and getting some momentum in this round. This putt has got a bit of right to left and left to right at the very end. So overall, I don't think I want to leave the hole. I'm going left edge. Birdie. Yes. Back to level par. We are not in the red. We're in no man's land, but I'm happy level par because we've got a few holes left to go and I have an opportunity to try and sneak my way back to where we belong. Whoa, what a view. Oh my gosh. What? I have never seen a par 3 like this in all my days. There's dunes on the right, pine trees down the left, and a plateau kind of green up there. Wow, gorgeous. We're playing off the tips for this par 3 because it would be rude not to. And it's 186 yards. Playing slightly uphill. I'm gonna round that up to a 190 shot. And what about this view, by the way, down the left-hand side, all out to the Atlantic. And you can see lots of the golf holes from this elevated position. Really is an aesthetically very pleasing golf course if you're into something that's natural and rugged and authentic. I'm gonna hit my hybrid because it's a 190 shot and there is no margin to be short. There's just a big false front and a massive face in front of this flag. So I really don't see any room to be short. Back into the breeze. Go on. Yes. She's home and dry. There we have it. That's probably my shot of the day, I would say. Kind of 190 shot, and I've managed to get it all the way back on this wonderful green. Very interesting green complexes around here because they really pinch in areas and then they kind of slope in certain directions. So you've got to have your wits about you if you're coming here to West Cliffs. This putt is lightning quick. Like putting down a marble staircase, down the breeze, down the green. I am just gonna have to tickle this on its merry way. And again, it's right to left and then left to right at the end, so I'm just gonna take this on the right edge. Emily's face. Oh, that was so sweet. Were you shocked? Come on, baby. Off the tips, that par 3. In for a 2. Not only that, we are in the red. Come on. This is a very interesting hole with the driver, totally blind tee shot, par 4. We are going up and over the hill and far, far away. It's going to be a tough one for you, Emily. Down the gully you go. Felt good, but we'll soon find out. Alrighty, we've got 129. Drive was worked out perfect. I thought it might be a little bit right, but the way it doglegs so sharply, it's just perfect. Let's round it up to 130, but it's playing 10 yards down the hill, so it's a 120 shot, which I have just the club for. Cheeky pea. Pitching wedge, I'm going straight at this. Going for the hole. Nice. We have another cheeky chance. Back up the hill for the birdie. This would be a great putt to hole. Oh, it did not budge. That is a real wasted opportunity. That's disappointing. Hard not to feel a bit sad about that, but it's a par and we're still in the red, 1 under par as we move to the final hole, number 18. Hole number 18, what a crackerjack. Look at this view. It feels good to be alive, looking out to a view like this. The hole runs all the way back down towards the clubhouse, and I'm going to take my driver down the right-hand side. Perfect. I'm 1 under par on the 18th at West Cliffs. I've missed the fairway, I'm just off to the right-hand side, but the ball's lying fine. The rough's actually been, not that I've seen much of it, but it's not too penal here at West Cliffs, which is quite nice. And I've got 157 yards, downhill, down breeze. What an approach shot this is. My word, with my 7-iron just gripped down. I'm going straight at it, Emily, but there's a little bit of room long and left. Whoa, that has gone long and left. I've got a chip and a putt coming up, hopefully. Not an easy up and down, actually. But with all that water in front, I wasn't brave enough to take the 8-iron. Well, I think it's going to be my 60 degree that I require because it's a tight pin. Oi, oi, oi. Right, as you can see, this is not an easy shot. I've short-sided myself left of the green, and I'm also chipping back towards that massive pool of water. So this is all sorts of ugly, but it's on a downslope. I'm gonna have to play it with plenty of loft, bit of flair as well. Sit. Oof, that came off very hot, but I struck it nicely. But I've left myself a bit of work to do for the final par. Can I hold this putt? What do you think? I'm a cheerleader. This is holeable. This is definitely holeable. You can see that changing grain again. Into the grain, then down the grain. Okay, there's some left to right on this putt. Quite a lot of it. To stay in the red at 1 under par on a golf course I've never played before. Oh, it's low. Ugh. Level par for the day at West Cliffs on this beautiful back 9, but it's been an absolute treat. Thanks for your company. See you next time around.